trip down to the UK and visited London for a couple days for holiday on vacation. And I wanted to jump on here today and whisper a little bit about my time there and what I did and the sights that I saw and the food that I ate and everything that I did overall on the trip and my impressions. Wow, still a little bit jet lagged. So, hope you guys have been doing well. Kick back, grab yourself a nice beverage, and feel free to close your eyes and listen to a little bit about my trip as I was there. I had a lot of fun. Overall, the long and short of it is I had a really good time, and it was a very liberating and enlightening experience because I went by myself and I was there for the entire trip on my own. It was the first time that I did the whole solo travel thing to a foreign country. I've solo traveled before, but I've never went to a foreign country, stayed in that foreign country completely on my own without anyone there as a sort of a social buffer, if you will. So I did not know what to expect and whether or not I would actually enjoy myself there because I was going to be on my own. And to my pleasant surprise, not only did I enjoy it, but I think I might actually prefer doing that on my own going forward. I don't know. We'll see. If I have family who wants to come with me, obviously I'm not going to deny them the chance to go with me, but I really, really did have a very good time on my own, which was a very liberating and enlightening experience because you kind of start to realize, oh, I can do all of this on my own. No one's going to stop me. The only thing I really need is myself, my passport, and, money to pay for stuff, obviously. But it was like an amazing sort of revelation to me. I was like, wow, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, go wherever I want, and do whatever I want, and no one can tell me otherwise. And not only that, no one cares. So that's something I learned on the trip, and it was amazing to experience that. So definitely will be going back, and definitely will be taking solo trips to other places as well in the near future. I'm actually going to Alaska in less than 2 months, but it's for a company trip, so it's not really solo. But definitely will be doing more trips on my own going forward to other places. I've got a couple of places I want to see at the top of my list, and so I'll be doing that, which will be, some of these places don't speak English, like the Czech Republic. I can speak a little Slovakian, so that'll help me get by, so it's not really the same. But other places like Italy and Spain, I don't speak Spanish or Italian, so that's going to be definitely a unique experience in of itself on my own in a foreign country where they don't speak English. So, but I digress. So I went to the UK for a couple of days to see London. I've always wanted to go. I've always liked British culture, and so finally, post-pandemic, was like, now is the time to do it. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's just fly over there and see as much of the city as I can. And so I did. And so I took the red eye from New York to London overnight, and the plan was that I would sleep on the plane overnight because it was about a 6-7 hour flight. And I had this all mapped out in my head, right? Because I couldn't check into the hotel until 2 o'clock. So I was like, okay, I'll sleep on the plane. No problem. I'll get down to London in the morning and I'll be rested, right? That was my plan. This is what I was thinking in my head. But of course, no flight is complete without a crying baby on board. It's a staple, really, if you think about it. You can't get on a plane and enjoy yourself unless there's a crying baby. Otherwise, are you even flying? Are you even traveling if there's not someone crying on the plane? So there was a crying baby on board, and this baby cried at regular 30-minute intervals and woke me up every single time. So needless to say, I did not get a single wink of sleep on this plane, unfortunately. So when we touched down in the UK at 10 o'clock in the morning, I was absolutely knackered, as they say, exhausted. Yeah, I was super tired, but as soon as I got off the plane, the adrenaline just kicked in. I was ready to go. it was a weird sort of dynamic where I'm exhausted, but at the same time, I'm going at 110 miles an hour because I am just super jacked and amped to be in a new place, new city. Never saw anything. Never saw any of the sights in the city, any of the environments, any of the people. So I was just like, let's go. And so, got off the plane, went through the security, all that jazz. Decided to take, because I had a couple hours to kill before the hotel, so I decided to take the London Underground, the tube, instead of an Uber, because I wanted to experience, the transit system there, because I always love doing that. I love to compare the transit system to the New York subway. And obviously, as I've seen in other cities, train was much cleaner than New York's. Obviously, I don't think there's a dirtier subway system than a New York City subway system. But so I did that, and it took me about an hour, almost an hour, to get to my hotel. The train was much smaller and more tight than a New York train, but it was at the same time pretty efficient. Like, there was no delays or anything like that. It just went straight through from one station to the next with no delays. Very efficient. And one other thing that I immediately noticed is that there was no air conditioning, which seems to be every country I go to that's not America does not really do the whole air conditioning thing unless you're in a hotel. So none of the restaurants had air conditioning. It just seems to be a rare commodity in other places. I'm not sure if it's something to do with the laws or just the overall culture, but there was no air conditioning. They had this little fan thing on top of the top portion of the train that cycled in air as the train went by. So it would cycle in air, and it was relatively cool, like a fan. Did its job, but relatively uncomfortable. Takes some getting used to, especially after an 8-hour flight. Nonetheless, I get to my stop, get off, and I immediately start exploring. I've got some pictures here that I'm gonna show in this video, but I'm also gonna use it as kind of like a marker to stimulate my memory as to what I did in which sequence. So I got off the train and I started exploring, and first place I got to was Covent Garden, which was kind of like a little market area with a lot of shops and a lot of restaurants and just people walking around. Saw my first phone booth that I took a picture with, which was cool. That was on my list of things to see. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna see those red telephone booths. How do I even find one? Well, as I later learned, those things are everywhere in London. No idea if they actually work. I didn't try to make them, to make a call, but they were a popular tourist destination. Everyone was doing the whole, take a picture of me, I'm opening the door, oh my god. A lot of people were doing that, but I just took a quick, uninvasive picture. I thought that was cool, and moved on, explored that area a little bit, and then I finally found a place to eat because I was hungry and exhausted. I needed some coffee, so I found a nice pub. They had this weird ordering system where you scan the menu and order from your phone. There was no waiters or waitresses. There's a few places in London like this, as I later learned. It must be like a new thing. It's probably going to make its way to New York at some point, but got myself, of course, I had to get the English breakfast because that's a staple, right, in the UK, and so I wanted to try it. So I got that, eggs, sausage, bacon, toast, and some beans, and then a mushroom and a tomato. The mushroom and tomato, kind of random, but, tasted good. The coffee was sold out, so I was like, screw it, I'll just get a beer. So I got a Guinness, and just went to town. It was delicious. The beans, definitely, they were delicious, but it was kind of like, it definitely would be something that would take me some time to get used to, having beans for breakfast, because it's just not something that you do in America, having beans for breakfast. It's usually like something you eat for lunch or dinner. So I wasn't really sure what to do with the beans, honestly. Like whether to put them on top of the eggs or just eat them out of the tin. So what I did was I just poured them on my bread and I ate it like that. And that seemed to work. It tasted pretty good. I liked it. So no issues there. And that was a very good meal. It was a great way to start my trip, I think. So I did that. I walked around for a little bit and it started raining. I did bring an umbrella. Some footage here of me walking around, as you can see, and you know, as I learned during my time there, it rained a lot, but it was like really weak rain. You know, like it would rain for like 30 seconds, then stop, and this would happen, you know, during regular intervals while I was there. It was almost like not even worth bringing an umbrella, because most people would just like kind of find a place to kind of stand under and wait for the rain to stop, and then they would just move on with their day. I noticed nobody was carrying around an umbrella, so it's almost like people just were used to the rain and knew how to deal with it. Then I explored a little bit more. I saw this random guy putting on a magic show, so I stopped, took a little video of him doing his thing. I'll cut the audio out because it's loud, but basically he was saying like, oh, check this out, I'll show you this trick with the string, and he threw it in the air, and it just landed on the ground, and I think this was like a comedic sketch, but like I was so exhausted, I was like, you know what, I'm not in the mood for this guy to troll me right now. I'm gonna go see some other stuff. It seemed very touristy. You know, I have a sixth sense when it comes to touristy things because I live in New York, so I know a tourist trap when I see one, and I was immediately like, okay, he's gonna like do something with the tourists, and I don't really like want to wait to see what the resolution is. A couple of people were there from Manchester, and he, you know, had them hold the string, and I don't know what was gonna happen, honestly. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. There's more things to see. This is just something I could see in New York anytime. Some guy trolling the audience. So I bounced after that, walked a little bit, and then I finally was like, you know what, let me try to check into my hotel because I'm exhausted. I need some winks of sleep because I'm running on pure adrenaline and I'm crashing right now. The time zone difference was hitting me hard because it was a 5-hour difference. You know, I'm walking around and exploring. Meanwhile, my body's still on New York time, and it's, you know, clearly like, you know, 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So I eventually go into my hotel, ask the guy if I can check in early. He's like, yeah, the room's ready for you. I was like, oh, thank God. So I get into my room, plop my stuff down, take a nice shower, and then just knock out for 2 hours, take a quick, efficient, very, very pleasant nap. I really needed it. So I did that, and I was ready to go after that. Get back outside, and I started exploring a little bit more. And I went to St. James Park. I went to St. James Park the entirety of my trip. So every day I went there because it was a good place to kind of just chill and relax and recover, because I walked a lot. I did not take any transportation while I was there, aside from when I first got there, to get from the airport, because the airport was far away from my hotel. Because I was in the middle of London, so everything was easily accessible within a 30-minute walk. So I walked everywhere, and so I was pretty exhausted most of the time while I was there. So St. James Park was a good place for me to kind of just chill out and relax. So I did that, went there quite a bit, and beautiful park, lots of green that I was not aware of, that London was a very green city. Parks everywhere. And also very clean. Not a lot of trash on the street. Not much at all, as I can remember. No. And yeah, very, very clean, very efficient. Everyone is polite, and no one honks their horn. Cars just kind of stop and don't honk, which is something I'm not used to. That's all they do here in New York. So anyway, I definitely wanted to see Big Ben. So I went to see Big Ben. The first thing I did, I believe, is I walked to the destination, had my phone out, my GPS, and I found Big Ben. And it was like amazing to see in person, because, you know, you see the pictures, but it doesn't do it justice when you're actually up close in person and you're looking at Big Ben and you see it in, you know, in all its glory. You're just like, wow, what a marvel of human innovation. You know, architecture was magnificent. So I took a bunch of pictures of Big Ben. It was actually closed, right? So apparently you can go inside, but it was closed. So all I can do is really look at it and appreciate it. So I did that. Then I decided to go to Buckingham Palace. I don't know why that slipped my mind, but I went to Buckingham Palace. That was the second thing I did. I was like, I gotta go see it. Gotta see what all the hype is about. It's one of the most, famous destinations in the world. So I went there and had to fight my way to get to the front because everybody was just crowding the front gate. But I thought it was cool to see it. They had those British Queen's Guard soldiers standing out front. They would march back and forth. And that was pretty interesting. It was pretty funny though, because the guy would march back and forth, and then I looked off to the side and I saw actual police standing there. So that was a little funny. I thought to myself, you should at least try to maintain a little bit of the theatrics of it, right? We all know that the guards are for show, but the police probably should be standing right there, making it obvious. But anyway, I thought that was a funny little thing. But it was very cool to see. I stood there probably for about 15 minutes at the front gate, looking around, taking in all the sides. I walked around the area too, because it's very peaceful, very beautiful in that area. So it was quite nice. I think I did go back to St. James Park after that. Went to the lake, watched the ducks. Lots of ducks over there. And so I took in the sights there, relaxed a little bit. Saw some more sights. This site in particular, I'm trying to remember what it was. Let's see here. I went to, I think it's Trafalgar Square. No. Duke of York. The Duke of York column. Yeah, so I saw this monument as well. Took a nice little snapshot. So basically the entire time I was there, I would take pictures and then just kind of observe and take in the sights. I didn't really take too many videos because it would be too much distraction for me. My attention would not be on what was in front of me. So I took pictures, put my phone away, because I wanted to really just experience it, right? Pictures were much less invasive, so I did that. Then I went to Gordon Ramsay's Street Burger. I really wanted to try this place because I love Gordon Ramsay, and I always wanted to try one of his places. I got a Hell's Kitchen burger there. Try it out. It was good. It was tasty. Little too fancy for my blood, honestly. I would give it a 7.5. I really was expecting more. Then again, it's not like Gordon Ramsay was back there and he made the burger, but still, I ate it and I was like, it tasted good. It was well prepared. There was nothing inherently wrong with the burger. But to me, it was just kind of is that all? Is that it? It wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't a mind-blowing experience for me. I've had better burgers in New York, is what I'm saying. So, but nonetheless, it wasn't something to complain about. Just kind of I think I had my expectations really, really high. And because of that, it, let me down just a little bit. But overall, it was a good burger. If it was just a random burger at a random place, I would be like, that was tasty. So, yeah. After that, I went back to Covent Garden, walked around a little bit of the theater district, and looked around. And I got some souvenirs for my family. Little Big Ben figurine and a telephone booth figurine. So that was cool. Which doubles as a money box, I guess. So I did that. And that was I think that's about what I did on the first day. It's all kind of blending in together for me, but I did also go and see the Westminster. Westminster was one of the most beautiful areas there, I believe. Yeah, it was Westminster Abbey, and I saw the church there, which was magnificent. It was marble, probably one of the most beautiful pieces of architecture I've ever seen in my life, and that was gorgeous. A couple days later, I saw that you can actually go inside, but the line was so long that I decided to, save that for a future trip, since I had other places that I wanted to go. So, I think that was basically the end of my day there, the first day, and the next couple of days, I basically repeated the same process. I would explore, see some landmarks. I did, one of the highlights of my trip was that I went to the Winston Churchill Museum. So basically, this museum was dedicated to the operations of Winston Churchill during World War II, when London was getting bombed by Nazi Germany. And so it was like a little exhibit showing everything that was happening, planning, strategic meetings, phone calls. One of the coolest things I learned while I was there, though, is that Winston Churchill had a special bathroom, special toilet that he would use that no one else could go into. No one understood why, but as it turns out, it wasn't a toilet. It was a room where Winston Churchill would call the U.S. President FDR. He would call FDR and have secret meetings to plan strategy on how they could save the world from the Nazis. And it would be a room that he would use so that the Nazis could not tap into their phone conversations and, decipher what they're planning. So I thought that was very, very cool. This was probably my most favorite part of the trip, if I had to pick, because I really like that whole period of World War II. And Winston Churchill is a cool historical figure in my book, so I really, really loved it. And it's something that I would go back to see again, just so that I can learn even more, because it's hard to absorb all of that history while you're there. But yeah, did that. That was awesome. I then purchased a awesome souvenir for myself and my dad, actually. It was a shirt. I was trying to get something that wasn't very touristy. I didn't want a shirt that says something corny, like I love London. That's so cheesy and passe. I see that all the time in New York. I love New York. It's like, man, it's very corny and very it's not very artistic or subtle. I wanted something a little bit more passionate. And so I found a shirt was in the museum that was about basically just a cool shirt about the Battle of Britain. The flag, the couple of planes. I'll put a picture up on screen so you guys can see what it looks like. But I thought it was a really cool shirt. And it had a lot of personality. So I was like, this means more than just a shirt that says, I love London. So I got that. And that was awesome. I did also find a shirt for my mom and sister that was also very artsy, a little bit more, had a little more style and personality, which was a tank top with the phone booth on it, and that was cool. So I got that as well, and I was very satisfied with those gifts. So got that, and then I had been waiting to try some fish and chips for a while. That was one of the things I was looking forward to, because you hear all about how fish and chips is like the national dish in London, and now everyone eats it. And in New York, it's hard to get fish and chips without, it being wrong in some way. Whether the fish is too small, the French fries are too thin. So I went to a place that I randomly saw as I was walking around called Ben's Fish and Chips, and it was a little hole-in-the-wall place. So already I knew I was in the right spot, because for those of you who don't live in big cities, whenever you want to find a good food place, usually it's off the beaten track, and it's a little tiny hole-in-the-wall place that there's not a lot of people there, but they have really good food. If it looks less touristy, it's usually a good thing. And so this was that place. You walk in, it's like a little, rickety-ass place, and I was like, okay. And I ordered some fish and chips, got some cod, and the fish was massive. I was like, holy shit. Because whenever I got a piece of fish in New York, tiny little thing, not large at all. And here they give you a big piece of fish, big chunks of fries, chips, and the only thing that was wrong with the meal was the little ass container of tartar sauce. I was like, come on, that's it. But nonetheless, it was delicious. The best meal that I had while I was there. No contest. I even told the girl that was serving me there, I was just like, this is the best fucking meal I had here since I got here. And And she was like, "Oh, thank you, sir. That's really kind of you." She had a very thick accent. Not like a London accent. I don't know where she was from. It was like almost like a mixture of like Scottish or something, but it was absolutely delicious. Man, it sucks that I can't go back and eat it right now. I'm looking at this picture right now. I'm like, damn. Wish that I could. But yeah. So I did that, and then I walked around a little bit more. Went back to St. James Park, and I think that I decided to turn in for the day. I don't remember if I did anything else. What I do know, though, is that the next day I went to a couple different places. I went to the London Eye. That's right. I went to the London Eye. Very, very touristy place. Tourist trap, 100%. Oh, that's right. Let me back up a little bit before I talk about the London Eye. I did actually do something even more touristy. I think I have a video that I recorded of it. It was me on the tourist bus, which was hilarious. Me on a tourist bus cost me like, it was like £45. It was expensive, so I got on that thing and I just rode around the city. Honestly, the only reason I did it is because I was tired from walking around so much, and it was really nice to just drive around the city a little bit. So I did that, drove around on the bus a little bit, took some pictures, listened to the history. He showed a couple of sites that were interesting. A place where John Lennon lived, Margaret Thatcher, and I believe J.K. Rowling. So that was cool. So I did that, and once I got off, then I went to the London Eye. Got on the London Eye. That place was like a tourist trap, 100%. So many people. But I got on the Eye and got a great view of the city, and I was able to take some really nice pictures. And I'll put a couple of on the screen here. And then a nice gentleman there decided to take my picture, which was cool. So, very kind of him to do that. So I did that, and that was really awesome. So I did that, got off, and the next thing I was going to do is go to the British Museum of Natural History. So I started making my way over there, and I saw a cute little doggy on the street. So decided to stop him and give him some pets, and I asked the owner if I could take a picture and a video, and he said yes. So did that, took the picture. The dog was not cooperating, but we got a decent shot. He was adorable. His name was Angel. So I did that. Then I went to the museum and took a look around the museum. I feel like I did not, because I got there around probably around 4 p.m. I didn't have enough time to really explore the museum for too long because it closed at 5. So I had about an hour to do that. So I walked around, looked at a bunch of different exhibits, went through the Egyptian section, the Greek section, the Roman section. I was very much interested in sort of the armor and like weaponry that I could find. So looked at a bunch of those, and that was awesome. And then I got out and I decided to get myself another helping of fish and chips. I was about to go back to Ben's Fish and Chips, to be honest, and I kind of wish that I did. I went to somewhere else. I forget the name of this place, but I'll flash a picture up on the screen. It wasn't as good as Ben's Fish and Chips. This place was kind of more, it seemed like it was kind of like almost like Chinese food, if that makes sense. I kind of realized after I ate it, it was, the quality wasn't as good. Something with the oil, but it still tasted good, don't get me wrong. But comparing it to Ben's Fish and Chips was, the batter they used was a little more cheap, I would say. But still pretty delicious, honestly. Better than what I can get here. Any imitation of fish and chips that I can get here. So, got some of that fish and chips. Went back to, of course, St. James Park, and I just looked around there some more. Saw the birds. There was a cool place that I walked by called, I forget the name of it. It was like a little cottage. I'll put a picture up. It's not saying what it is, but it was part of the duck area. So I did that. And then I saw the House of Parliament, I believe. I think it was the Parliament House. Looked at that. And yeah, overall, I spent a couple of days there and I had a really good time. I'm just going through my pictures to see if I missed anything that I wanted to mention. But I think I got the gist of it here. I've got over 100 pictures, so I'm trying to see. But I think I got the gist of it. Basically, the entire time. Oh, there was a chic protest going on. I have no idea what the protest was for. As an American, I was very confused. I had no idea what was going on. I looked it up, but it still wasn't really quite clear to me, so I don't really know what was going on there. But that was going on, and there was some Ukraine protests going on as well. Try to avoid that stuff because I'm just trying to enjoy myself and not think about current political issues, So, but yeah, overall my trip was a lot of fun. I spent a lot of time walking around. I think I burned more calories on this trip than I do on a daily basis home. So I had a lot of fun exploring the sites. I was super jacked, super amped up. By the end of it, I was kind of I almost wished that I had made the trip a little bit longer. But again, I didn't know exactly how I was going to sort of adjust to being alone. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there were periods of time where I was a little bit lonely when I would see couples or families. But it was, little tiny moments here and there. It wasn't like a long portion of the trip. Most of the time I was too amped up and hopped up on adrenaline to really notice that kind of stuff. So I was enjoying myself. And it was a lot of fun. And I'm still exhausted because I have not... It's funny, I get home and my body is just completely shot because I'm still on the UK time zone. Meanwhile, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I'm thinking it's in the afternoon. I look outside, I'm like, wow, it's only 10 a.m. because my body's still readjusting to the time zone. So that was probably the most difficult portion of the trip. But I did bring back some additional souvenirs here. Got some... Let me show you guys before I end the video. Got some British notes here. Got a $5 here, Winston Churchill, and Queen Elizabeth, which is cool. I like to bring these currencies back, and I got a tenner. So, £10 note here. I like to bring these back as a souvenir for myself because it's kind of this is the best kind of souvenir you can bring because this is part of daily life, right? This is what people use. It's a part of the day-to-day operations, just like in America. So that means more to me, I think. So I decided to bring that back for my collection because I already have Canadian currency. And I figured I'd bring this here. And I have here some coins as well. So I've got a £1 coin here. £1 coin. I don't know, it's going to be tough to kind of focus in on it. It's very small, but that's what it looks like. And I have here a £2 coin. Basically, very similar, but it's a little bit... I just dropped the coin. Oops, I got that out, but what I was saying is it's a little bit larger, the £2 coin. It's slightly bigger. I also have here, let's see. This is another £2 coin. Looks slightly different though. Slightly different design. It's a little bit hard to see, but got that. I have here another coin here. This is 20 pence. So, very tiny, hard to see, but 20 pence here. I have another coin here. I think this is 5 pence. Yeah, 5 pence. So, a little bit different than American nickels, a little bigger than that. it seems like, and this kind of makes sense, the coins, the smaller they are, the less value they have. Whereas in America, it's not always that way. A nickel is bigger than a dime. Even though a dime is 10 cents, a nickel's 5. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. This kind of makes more sense. At least this is my observation, right? I think this is how they're going about it in terms of the creation of the coins, but that's what it seems like. Let's see what else I have here. I think that's it. I had 1 pence at some point. Little copper coin, but I think I lost it. And this is 20 pence again. I had 1 pence at some point. Doesn't look like I have it anymore. So, but yeah, that was the entirety of my trip to London in the UK, and I had a really, really good time, and it definitely awoke something within me to really, get out there and just, travel the world solo, not having to really worry about bringing anyone with me. So, I've got a lot of places on my list that I want to visit, including the Czech Republic, Slovakia, the Netherlands, Italy, Spain. So all of these places will be on my list. A lot of them I will go to next year. This year, after Alaska, I'm probably done traveling for the year. Just because it was a very expensive trip to go to the UK. Because it's, it was during the warmer months, so plane tickets were more expensive. So I might be done this year after Alaska in August, but, the good news is I'm super excited for the future and where I'm going to go. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and there will be many more videos of me telling you guys about my escapades. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for tuning in. Everyone, my friends, I love you all, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, my